In today's video, we'll dive into the chaotic state of the current auto market. It's like we've stepped into a parallel universe of terrible car prices, making it the most expensive car market in modern history. At least, that's what the analysts are shouting from the rooftops, and honestly, it's hard to disagree once we take a look at the jaw-dropping figures. Believe it or not, according to our friends at Edmonds, in the second quarter this year, a whopping 17.1% of folks who were financing a vehicle found themselves forking out over $1,000 every single month. Yes, you heard that right. 1,000 hard-earned dollars vanishing into thin air just to keep a set of wheels under their feet. It's like taking a trip into the twilight zone of car expenses. Oh boy, let's hit you with some jaw-dropping stats to put things into perspective. Remember that 17.1% of people paying over $1,000 a month for a car in the second quarter of this year? Well, brace yourself, because before the pandemic hit in 2019, that number was a measly 4.3%. It's not just the sky-high prices that are giving us a wild ride, we're also dealing with interest rates that are through the roof. You know, normally, higher interest rates should at least try to balance out the price surge, but nope, not in this circus we call the auto market. According to the folks over at Cox Automotive, the average price for a new vehicle is now a staggering $48,000. Just a couple years ago in 2019, it was dancing around $39,000. And if you thought you could snag a sweet deal right under 30 grand, think again. Those babies make up only 8% of the market now. Back before the pandemic, they had a mighty presence with 38%, but now, things aren't looking great. Heck, vehicles under $20,000 are even rarer, accounting only for a teeny tiny 0.3% of the current auto market. According to Wells Fargo, car pricing has been on a wild ride, growing at a blistering 6.6% compound annual growth rate since 2019. That's like the stock market on steroids, zooming past the historical growth rate of less than 2%. Talk about a rocket launch. When the pandemic barged in uninvited, it brought along this annoying little friend: supply chain issues. Like a slowpoke in a race, the production of new cars was crawling at a snail's pace, causing a traffic jam of new car availability. And with folks itching to hit the roads again, the demand for those shiny new rides shot up fast. Now get this. Not only were we facing a restricted supply of new cars, but people also had a craving for some swanky upgrades. Move over sedans, because folks were drooling over more luxurious cars with all the bells and whistles. It's like the auto world decided to swap minivans for monster trucks, bigger, bolder, and oh so feature-rich. Dealers caught wind of this change in taste and decided to stock up on these fancy pants vehicles, which, you guessed it, drove the prices even higher. It's like a never-ending cycle. Higher prices meant higher demand, and higher demand meant even higher prices. But wait, there's more. Just when we thought things couldn't get any crazier, the semiconductor shortage hit the scene like a plot twist in a thriller movie. Car makers were struggling to get their hands on these tiny essential components, and as a result, the car shortage situation became even more dire. As if that wasn't enough, the Russian-Ukraine war decided to stir the pot, making matters worse for the already shaky car market. Despite higher car prices and rates, the number of new cars being sold dropped by only about 12% from pre-pandemic levels. However, car makers are more than compensating for the lost volume by raking in massive profits from high-end trims. In the third quarter of 2022, domestic car manufacturers saw profits of a staggering $32 billion, the highest since 2016. So, while many are feeling the pinch and getting priced out, the car-making giants are swimming in cash. Now let's hear it from the industry leaders themselves. Mary Barra, the CEO of GM, emphasized that maintaining discipline is key, aiming to drive strong margins in the current scenario. Ford CFO John Lawler shared their efforts to adapt to lower inventory levels and incorporate these changes as a regular part of their business approach going forward. Ford CEO Jim Farley made it crystal clear that they plan to run the business with lower supply, and surprisingly, it seemed to be good news for the company. It's not just car manufacturers celebrating the windfall. Car dealerships are having a field day too, reaping record profits in 2022. The Wall Street Journal reported a staggering 11.5% profit margin for dealerships on new vehicles, more than doubling the 4.9% margin seen in 2019. Crazy, right? Here's the kicker. Even though these dealerships are dancing in profits, car manufacturers aren't exactly thrilled about it. It makes you wonder, if the dealerships went directly to consumers like Tesla, would it actually make cars more affordable? Or would the manufacturers keep those dealer profits for themselves? It's a riddle that we can't help but wonder about. What's more is that the car market these days is like a roller coaster ride of financial mayhem. Cars, once the second biggest expense after housing, are now slipping out of reach for everyday folks. The average vehicle age has hit an all-time high of 13 years. Yeah, it seems like we'll be driving around in vintage cars for the next couple of decades. When your ride breaks down, get ready for a good laugh, because the cost of vehicle repairs has skyrocketed by a whopping 20% in just a year. Those dealerships are not only cheating us with their crazy markups on new cars, but are also cashing in on our struggles to keep our old vehicles running. But wait, there's still more. Insurance costs are climbing like there's no tomorrow, with rates going up by a jaw-dropping 17%. It's like they're charging us for driving on a rainbow or something. And if you're thinking of shopping around for a better deal, good luck. Insurance rates are projected to increase by another 4% before the year is over. Sorry folks, but there's hardly any good news these days. Well. Seems like we're stuck in a car market maze with no way out. High repair fees, pricier vehicles, and skyrocketing insurance rates are all in cahoots, conspiring to make our wallets weak. No wonder folks are ditching coverages like they're going out of style. It's the desperate attempt to take on the crushing costs. Who needs insurance, right? But hold your horses. If you're financing or leasing your ride, that option is out the window faster than a race car on nitro. Now, let's talk numbers, shall we? The average car payment in America is over $700 for a shiny new set of wheels. For a used ride, it's not much better, clocking it at over $500. But wait for it, the median income for a full-time worker is just $57,000. That math ain't mathin'. So who's buying these fancy cars at such unaffordable prices? Well, it's either folks who can't afford them, or those who are barely scraping by. That's not the wisest financial move, now is it? But fear not, folks, there's a glimmer of hope in the electric vehicle market. The White House is pushing it forward like a hot potato. But let's ask the million-dollar question. Are EVs affordable for most folks? It's a head-scratcher, isn't it? The car market might be a wild and unpredictable ride, but we're in this together. As we navigate the twists and turns of this automotive adventure, let's hope for brighter days ahead, and a car market that's more inclusive and accessible to all. Share your thoughts on this whole fiasco in the comments below. Let's get the conversation going. As always, hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. Thanks for tuning in.